What's up, everybody? This is Joseph R. Wheeler III, artist, founder, president of the ONYXCON Foundation. Welcome to another ONYXCON review, film review. Today, we're going to be talking about Sinners. Sinners is a new vampire action thriller, horror, intellectual horror film from the mind of the legendary Mr. Ryan Coogler. Ryan Coogler brought you Fruitvale Station. Ryan Coogler brought you Black Panther. Ryan Coogler brought you Wakanda Forever. So, first and foremost, this being a vampire movie, it's very different from any other vampire movie I've ever seen. I was a little bit, when I first heard about it, I said, okay, is that going to be one that I'll wait to see when it comes out and I watch it from home, in the comfort of home, or am I going to the theaters? And honestly, I thought, I might wait till it comes out, because it'll probably be out. If it's out right now in Easter, it'll be out on video and out on, streaming and all of that right on time for Halloween. Smart business, by the way. Very smart for the production company to do it like that because of an April 18th release. But I thought about it and I kept seeing all these great reviews. I kept seeing everything saying it was amazing. Even people who, I don't give a damn what the critics say. But when, when Rotten Tomatoes, which again, I don't care what they say, but when they typically dog stuff out and bomb on a lot of stuff that I expect to be great, but they said it was really good, and I said, why y'all like it? Then I kept seeing a lot of legendary actors that I respect and writers and people saying this is phenomenal. And two people I saw said the same thing. They said there's a lot to unpack here. I said, that's a good movie. Now let's get into it. Sinners is, again, starring Michael B. Jordan. Yes, Creed 1, 2, and 3. That Michael B. Jordan. Shout out to Michael B. Jordan. I've had the pleasure of working on set with this gentleman. By the way, Joseph R. Wheeler III, artist, founder, president of the ONYXCON Foundation. I am an artist. I am an artist in many ways. I'm an actor. I'm a writer. I'm a producer. I'm in the biz. So from being an actor, doing both background, stand-in, and even behind the camera, PA work, I do all types of stuff. I worked on Creed. I did stand-in on Creed one day, and I also did some background work, particularly in the scene with the Golden Gloves situation with the younger Creed. And Michael B., as you know, if you remember, he directed and starred in that. So I got to watch him work. And when I tell you he is a true team player and somebody who has incredible rapport on set, it was amazing to watch his energy and how everybody loved him. And he didn't, there's almost a stereotype of how directors act on set and how they come to set and everybody kind of tightens up and a lot of them can be very rigid and it's like this way or no way. And, they bark and everybody jumps kind of energy. Mike ain't got to do that. Mike is respected and loved. So he comes to set hugging people, dapping folk up, and everybody on his whole crew loves him. And they get the job done. It's like you could tell they are friends with him. So they want to do the job and they want to do it right. Same thing I witnessed working on Black Panther and on Wakanda Forever. Ryan Coogler is an incredible director. He's very hands-on. He's very intimate with his actors. He will take those breaks, say cut, walk in, whisper in the ear, if you could do this, and then you'll see them lift the performance. If you look at the pattern, okay, from Black Panther to now, from Fruitvale Station actually to now, Ryan Coogler always works with Michael B. Jordan. They're like a dynamic duo. And we get amazing results as fans for it, as film buffs, as people who love cinema. So many great films. This is no exception. I think Michael B. is learning from him and he's learning from Michael B. And both of them are bringing some of the greatest films in film history to the screen. What's really unique about this one, I heard that this one actually gave, or the studio working with Ryan Coogler gave him full control. Well, as full as you can get in Hollywood, but he had more creative control than he's ever had on this project. And if you think about some of the complaints and favoritism for people who loved it or hated it with Wakanda Forever, it's Marvel. It's still Disney owned. It's still super corporate. But this ain't that. This is an original story Ryan Coogler wrote. Ryan Coogler was inspired from things in his past to create this story. And you can see he put his heart into it. He put his own mind into it completely. It wasn't a whole writer's room full of people having influence on his vision. It was his vision. And all the actors implemented his vision to the max. That makes a huge difference in producing a film and doing it in today's economy and world and the way things are being made. Now, because as I said, the economy, we're in another state, and I say this with my full chest. Say it with your chest. Mark my words. This movie is going to do, or could possibly do, just what Blade did to save superhero movies and bring back the industry and create Marvel Studios. Shout out to Wesley Snipes, the original Blade, okay? I'm telling y'all, what they did with Sinners, if we do our job as fans and not just take these reviews like this for granted and say, man, everybody keeps saying it's good, I guess I'll get, I ain't no guess, go on and get out there and see this movie. I'm telling you, support this film, you're going to enjoy it, and it's going to make way for other films like this. I call this genre intellectual horror. And it's more than just what it's going to do for this genre. It's going to do things for other films to be made where more and more creatives have their rights to the project. They get more money off of it because of the way the contracts are written, and they have more creative control. We're going to start getting better films. We're going to start getting better movies in a time when it's really bleak and there's less work. I'm telling you from inside, there's less work right now. But a lot of other new projects that ain't got nothing to do with all this boardroom planning, and you can always guess where the plot is going. You can look at the trailer and pretty much feel like you watched the whole damn movie. Not with Sinners. I promise you. And I was worried about that. I was really worried about that going in. But I'm going to tell you something. This movie's got a lot more than what you see in the trailers. I would say even one trailer I saw recently, or actually it wasn't a trailer officially, it was like an interview. They showed a little bit too much of one scene that I wish they didn't, but it's okay. Because if you ain't seen the movie, you wouldn't really understand what you were looking at. Now that I've seen it, I said, I wouldn't have gave them that. Make them go see it. But I understand. They trying to just really get people in seats. Get people in seats. You never know what one little moment or scene can make somebody say, "Oh, dang, I didn't know it had something to look like that," or a lady, or that guy, or whoever that. What's that person doing? What's that vampire doing? Now you want to go see it, right? Anyway, so let's break it down. Let's get into the plot and everything. So this is based in the 1930s. We're talking Prohibition era. We're talking Jim Crow laws in the South. We're talking Mississippi in 1930s. Okay, two twin brothers, both played by Michael B. Jordan, and he did a marvelous job. This movie, let me say this real quick. Everybody in this movie and this movie itself deserves all the awards. All of them. The Oscars, the everything. They deserve it. Whether they get it or not, fans are going to tell you the truth. You already got one. You deserve that, my brother. Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan, the whole cast. Y'all deserve awards. Awesome. So two brothers that are basically gangsters from this little small town in Mississippi. It's a country town. It's a farming town. It's all about cotton. Cotton rules the South. Everybody picks their bales every day. That's how everybody makes it. They do sharecropping, labor. If you know anything about the history of sharecropping and Jim Crow laws, it may as well have been the extension of slavery. Slavery may be technically over on the books, but it's still in place because you don't have a choice of where you shop other than you shop in town at the same places who own all of the cotton fields. And it's just the money just gets recycled back into the owners of everything, which are former plantation owners. Thus, those who benefited from slavery and the total oppression of African peoples that were brought into this country, as far as those of us who came that way. And yes, that is historically a grand majority. Sorry for all y'all who want to create this new reality, dismissing real history and pretending that, the whole world was just one gigantic Africa. Africa was Africa. Yes, the first human beings on the earth all came out of Mother Africa, and we all had similarities and connections and things. But as time went on and as humanity evolved, other types of people came about. And we need to respect each other and give each other credit for the differences and the enlightened differences that we can all contribute. And I will say this about this movie. In its own very interesting way, it does that. And it does it through music. Because this is in the South during an era when blues ran everything. And the blues was not just music. It was a way of life. It was a depression of reality. It was the way black people in this country have been feeling about themselves and what they have to endure. That's where the blues comes from, with all of the oppression from back then that still to this day is relevant, okay? Sadly but true, all right? So you got a situation where these two brothers who were in that situation had a very abusive dad. And I'm not giving away too many major spoiler moments. I'm just going to say a little bit more than you may have heard in the trailer or anything. I'm sure it may have been said in the interview. And if it hadn't, none of this is going to ruin the movie for you, okay? Stick with me. They give you a little background to why they could even become gangsters. They had a very abusive situation coming up. Wasn't much mention of the mother. I wish that had been added in there a little bit, but whatever. You can just assume all the worst of what was typical of what they described. They did mention that they have military history. Both of them had been in trench warfare in one of the major conflicts. So they did their service in the military, army and whatnot like that. Ended up in Chicago at some point. Were always known in their old town for getting into some real unsavory ways, okay? Coming up the hard knock kids that turned from all the oppression that they had been through. Everybody was afraid of them, white, black, and otherwise. Everybody knew, don't cross these two, they'll get you. You think you're going to get them? We'll see who gets who first. That's how their energy is, right? Smoking stacks. Okay, those are two guys. So you got them. You've got their cousin, Sammy, who's a young kid who's trying to be a blues star. He wants to be known as a blues guitarist. And his father, played by Saul Williams. If you don't know about Saul Williams, the legendary poet, amazing. He's always incredible. He's a great actor, too. If you've never seen the movie Slam, go back and watch that. It's an older movie. Amazing. O'Connell Remick, who is like basically the head of the vampires, or the beginning of the vampires, white actor who basically plays, you can assume he's of Irish descent because at one point he was doing a river dance, and that was kind of hilarious the way it was placed, but really good scene. Just all the scenes were amazing. The way they shot this thing is crazy. They say they shot it all in IMAX, so that's why Coogler is telling everybody to go see it in IMAX. I didn't get a chance to see it in IMAX, but, you know, I will eventually. I hope maybe if I can get this money up, maybe if you go ahead and hit that subscribe button so we can have the kind of budget to go see IMAX movies and all these other ones that, you know, the ticket costs more. You know, my ticket costs $15 for the basic. So, I don't know how much more. Yao Bo Chow, which was a Chinese guy who ran a shop in town, and his wife's character, Li Jun Li, which was Grace Chow. And that was cool to see. And it gave more diversity to it. I really love when they share, you know, historical things that people take for granted and think didn't happen. But yeah, this was possible, you know. Delroy Lindo, the legend, okay? If you saw him back in the day as the dad on Crooklyn, Spike Lee joint, you know who I'm talking about. If you've seen him in other amazing movies, I mean, his career is incredible. Come on. Delroy Lindo, you know who I'm talking about. You just got to look him up if you don't know the name by heart. You should. Amazing. He played Delta Slim. Delta Slim was basically, he's like the spirit of Mississippi or of the whole South and the blues. He's the blues singer who's been broken in every way a man can be broken, and he's at his wit's end. He's at his life's crossroads. He doesn't pretty much just gave up and said, this is all I got left is liquor. Yes, he's an alcoholic, but he's a conscious alcoholic. He's aware of what's going on. He's smart enough to make decisions, and he's real cunning, and he paid attention to what's popping around him. You know what I mean? He reads the room. Hell of a character. Pearline, gorgeous. Oh my gosh, this actress is beautiful. Jamie, or I hope it's Jamie, maybe it's Jaime, but I think it's Jamie Lawson. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Also very beautiful. Haley Steinfeld plays Mary. So back to Pearline by Jamie. Jamie Lawson's character basically has it for Sammy, the young boy, who she's like the older lady who shouldn't even be messing around with him. I ain't gonna give away why, but it gets deep. And yeah, it was just interesting. I like their chemistry. I like how they played that out. They developed it well for the, I mean, it's a very short movie too, in the sense of the time span. You're talking about everything that's happening is within a day and a night. Like literally one long 24-hour period of ups and downs and craziness. Okay. When the ish hits the fan with the vampires, please believe it. All right. Haley Steinfeld has a lot to her character that meets the eye, more than meets the eye. You assume because of the South, everything's just black and white, these constructs, but people aren't that simple. Ethnicity is genes and deep. And you're going to find out a lot more about her when you see this movie. That impressed me the way they threw that in. Very gorgeous girl. She's super sexy and all that, and I like how she played her role. Percy Bell. He was one of the incarcerated workers. I'm just reading off of IMDb, giving people their shouts. Omar Benson Miller, Cornbread. Cornbread, you've seen this brother in so many things, and he's always, oh man, he plays so many characters. He's always the big gullible guy in most cases, or the really nice guy, the pushover big but really big guy, or the tough enforcer guy. In this case, he's kind of a tough enforcer character, but still has a little bit of gullibility to him, just a little bit. You know, that's just kind of his usual role. He's doing his thing. Wunmi Mosaku, gorgeous. Her skin is gleaming in this movie. It's a chocolate box, y'all. There's so many different looks with all these beautiful black actors and, you know, everybody else, white, Asian, a lot of people in this film. But, you know, it is centered on the black characters, and she is a force. She's a force. She's a force. She's a root lady. She's that lady who knows hoodoo, as they say in the South. You know, it's you might say voodoo or voodoo if you know the real. Okay, but she's coming from those traditions. She understands all of that, and she knows how to work roots and give you a mojo bag and wear this charm and do this on this day and that and the other and get protection and things. And she has a relationship with one of the twins. The other twin has a relationship with the young lady who's assumed to only be white. And because of their interracial love, it gets real complicated. The movie will tell you why. I ain't gonna give it away. You need to go see this movie. This movie is metaphorical. Okay, the blues is the central character. The blues itself is the central character of the movie. And the blues coming out of Mississippi runs super deep. That's one of the homes of the blues, you know what I mean? As is the rest of the entire U.S. South. And blues music is what leads to all other black music and, quite frankly, all other popular music in this country, whether it be rock and roll, whether it be country, western, whether it be hip hop, okay, whether it be jazz, of course, rhythm and blues, okay, came out of the blues direct, and then it went into jazz, and then it went into all these other, everything, every style you can think of, everything owes an homage to the blues. And I'm, for one, somebody, you know, growing up because of the era I was born into, hip hop era. I have an appreciation for the blues. I'm not gonna say I'm a blues man. Or that I relate so much to a lot of what gets said, but the overall heartbeat of the pain and the things one can go through in life and everything, yes, I relate. And I always say that hip hop is like, it's a modern form of blues, as was jazz, even when it was mostly instrumental. If you knew the heartbeat or the symbolism, if you saw a title of something that was totally instrumental, it's like, why is that such a crazy title? Because it was a blues title sometimes. Then you know there's some pain in this, or there's been some struggle to make this possible, what you're listening to. And this movie, metaphorically, symbolically, archetype-wise, with each character is an archetype for something. You literally have representations of the nation itself, representations of the South, of segregation. You have representations of interracial relationships and the strains that are put on people when they find true love amidst all these complicated situations, and how they're going to be viewed, and how death is always looming around the corner by every decision because of racism. And you better stay in your place, and why you over there, and why you doing this, and why, and no, I ain't gonna take no more stuff off of y'all, and I will stay. And that's kind of what the twins are. They're like, you know, because they became gangsters, they're not afraid of nobody. They'll kill anybody. They don't care, black, white, whoever you are. If you try me, you can go. I'm not scared of nobody. I like that energy. I hate that they had to be gangsters to arrive at that. But I like that they do show other characters in the movie that are not gangsters. They got that same attitude. You know what I mean? And I love, too, that the movie shows how there's a lot of really layered speeches, monologues, and things that get said, even by the white vampires, because the vampires get introduced through one particular white vampire who's the main villain, if you will. And he says, oh man, there's so much I would just almost give away, but I can't give it away. He says a line, Remick, that was the character. But it's the way he said it and what he said about what Sammy represents. And when I thought about the name Sammy as I'm watching the movie, I said, okay, I see you, Coogler. I see you, bro. Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam owes Sammy, young, black, the youth culture that keeps creating the next wave of something that they're going to use and bleed and they're going to bite it, suck it all dry, use it for what they want it to be. And he said a whole lot of stuff that sounded like this Remick character said a lot of stuff. It reminded me of Deacon Frost in Blade, but in antebellum South, Jim Crow level situation. But just like Blade's movie and his nemesis Frost, this is like a Frost character, this Remick guy. And he thinks that his way is the only way for salvation of all. Like, if everybody could just be one of us, get turned, this is the ultimate way to live. And everybody's like, and not everybody, but, you know, most everybody trying to save their life is like, no, I don't want to be no damn vampire. I'm going to kill you if you try to kill me, you know, and I don't want to come back and live that misery, you know. And so he gets at that. And I think that's very brilliant. And then there's also a lot of layers to, you know, the history of just societal racism. The Ku Klux Klan is a part of the story. And they allude to that even being in a time in the 30s when that was supposed to have been a dying thing. There's lines that share that. And then there's obvious truth that no, it still exists. Just like now when people are saying, oh, I know you saw what you saw, but that's not what that means. That wasn't a Nazi salute when that person got up on the stand and did that with his arm. No, we saw it the hell we saw. We still seeing what we seeing, and we know it is what it is. And you're trying to kill history, and you're trying to destroy it. Never mind. Y'all know what I'm saying. So it needs art like this to give everybody who's aware and truly woke, not some politically redefined definition of a word that was ours. You know, as a matter of fact, woke in the first time it was ever used in popular culture that y'all know was in a blues song. And it was a black man talking about surviving the ills of being oppressed in the American South. Go see Sinners. It's entertainment, but it's edutainment. Education and entertainment. Just what ONYXCON loves the most. You heard it here first. I'm Joseph R. Wheeler III, artist, founder, and president of the ONYXCON Foundation. And this movie gets a solid ONYXCON. I stopped at the end for one reason. There were a few scenes that I just wish had led to other scenes. There were some characters introduced. I'll just say my 500 nations were represented in a scene, but I don't think enough. I wanted them to have more. And it would have been perfect for them to come back at a certain point. No matter what the outcome, it would have been great. You know what I'm talking about if you've seen the movie. That hurt a little bit. And then there were some other scenes, particularly one monologue given by the Asian wife character, where I felt like everybody should have been right on the same page with her, but people were trying to kind of calm her down, and it didn't fit the moment. I'm like, I'm right there with her. It's time. It's time to be just like that. Let's go. You know, and then everybody got on that exact, it literally went from calm down, let's think, to, yeah, we all like that, let's go. So it just wasn't necessary. It's very weird. And it took away a little bit for me because it was a wasted moment that could have been, it made the moment like hit the brakes at a time. There's no time to put, it's not time to hit the brakes, it's time to be full throttle. And I felt the same way about bringing back those indigenous characters at that one point. But go see it for yourself. Let me know in the comments once you've seen it and you understand what I'm talking about, what you think. But most importantly, support Sinners. It's the beginning of a whole new era of intellectual horror. Horror that's not about just gore and grime. And I've been saying this for years because I coined that phrase, intellectual horror. And by the way, check out my intellectual horror piece, Biggity. What is it? Right here on YouTube. Let's get the numbers through the roof so we can make that into a movie because the era of the intellectual horror is now, thanks to us. Peace, y'all.